I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the...
It wasn't Italian. It wasn't exotic. It wasn't draped in carbon fiber or born from the factories of Maranello or Stuttgart. No, it was a four-door family sedan built in Broadmeadows, Victoria. And yet, in 1971, this unassuming machine would stun the entire world. The Ford Falcon GTHO Phase III wasn't just fast. It was called the fastest four-door production sedan on the planet. It destroyed its rivals at Mount Panorama, terrified politicians who branded it a bullet on wheels, and ignited one of the biggest controversies in Australian automotive history, the Supercar Scare. But behind all the headlines and chaos lies a shocking truth. The Phase III wasn't merely a muscle car. It was a symbol, a car so good, so dominant, that it changed the course of Australian motorsport forever. The story begins in 1971, peak of the muscle car era. Every October, one race defined the nation, the hardy Ferodo 500 at Bathurst's Mount Panorama. Winning there wasn't just about taking home a trophy. It meant national glory. It meant sales. It meant dominance. And the big three, Ford, Holden, and Chrysler, were locked in a no-holds-barred war, each determined to build the ultimate street-legal race car capable of surviving 500 miles of punishing mountain warfare. Globally, the muscle car dream was already dying. In the United States, emissions regulations and rising insurance costs were strangling horsepower. But down under, things were just heating up. Australia was writing its own chapter, raw, loud, and fearless. And at the center of it all was Ford Australia, led by an ambitious American named Bill Burke. His mission? Total domination. Burke believed in Ford's global motto, total performance. He didn't just want Ford to win at Bathurst. He wanted to humiliate the competition and cement Ford's name as the undisputed king of the road. And so, the fuse was lit. The goal was simple. Build a car so fast, so ruthless, that it would leave Holden and Chrysler in the dust. What Ford came up with would go down as the most feared sedan ever built in Australia, the Falcon GTHO Phase III. It all started under the hood. Ford engineers led by Al Turner took the already potent 351 cubic inch Cleveland V8 and pushed it to the edge of sanity. This wasn't just an engine, it was a weapon. They gave it a Holley carburetor, a high-flow intake, and a close-ratio 4-speed top-loader gearbox. The rear was fitted with the Detroit locker, brutal, mechanical, and built for racing. Suspension was upgraded for precision handling, and the car carried a massive 36-gallon fuel tank, enough to go the distance without endless pit stops. Every nut and bolt was built with one thing in mind: Bathurst dominance. Then came the driver who would immortalize it, Alan Moffat, a Canadian-born racer, calm, ruthless, and addicted to perfection. He had already conquered Bathurst in the previous Phase II Falcon, but this was his moment to rewrite history. The Phase III was his Excalibur. Moffat wasn't just chasing victory, he wanted to make the mountain bow to Ford. When Ford rolled out the Phase III, the paddock couldn't believe what they were seeing. This wasn't just another entry. It was a racing sledgehammer wearing a family sedan's body. Rivals at Holden and Chrysler could only stare. The Falcon GTHO Phase III looked like it had been built to break the laws of physics. Then came Bathurst, 1971. The tension was electric. Ford versus Holden versus Chrysler, a war of steel and pride. In qualifying, Moffat shattered the lap record by a jaw-dropping 13 seconds. The front row, all Falcons. The atmosphere was unreal. Fans in the stands could feel it. Ford hadn't just brought a car, they'd brought a legend in the making. But the mountain has no mercy. In one of Bathurst's most infamous crashes, driver Bill Brown, piloting another Phase III, blew a tire at over 100 miles an hour. The Falcon launched into the air, flipping violently through skyline. The wreck was catastrophic, and yet Brown survived. The footage shocked the nation. Australians had never seen something like it. Overnight, the Phase III became both feared and worshipped, a symbol of unstoppable speed and terrifying power. Meanwhile, Holden and Chrysler were plotting their counterattacks. Holden had a young gun named Peter Brock, a man who would later be crowned the King of the Mountain. Chrysler's Charger RT E49 was smaller, lighter, and ready to strike back with raw agility. But Ford had the upper hand, and the entire country was watching. Then came the twist nobody expected, a storm that would turn triumph into controversy. A journalist named Evan Green published a front-page article that sent shockwaves through the nation. The headline, 160-mile-per-hour supercars soon. He warned that manufacturers were building racing specials for the road, cars so fast they could be bought and driven by ordinary Australians, even teenagers. It was fuel on the fire. Politicians exploded with outrage. The New South Wales Transport Minister marked him bullets on wheels. He threatened to have them banned from public roads. The public panicked. Parents were terrified their kids might get behind one of these monsters. What had meant to be Ford's crowning moment had turned into a full-blown scandal. The Supercar Scare had begun, and it was about to change Australian motoring forever. But back at Mount Panorama, while the government debated, the racers were making history. On race day, Moffitt lined up on pole position in his striking yellow Phase III. The crowd roared. The flag dropped, and Moffitt took off like a rocket. For 500 miles, he was untouchable. Lap after lap, the Falcon carved through the mountain like it owned the place. Then, disaster nearly struck. A cardboard beer carton blew across the track and got stuck right across his front grille. The crowd gasped. If the engine overheated, his race would be over. His pit crew frantically signaled him to pull in, but Moffitt ignored them. Eyes locked on the temperature gauge, he kept going, gambling it all. The fans held their breath as the Falcon thundered on, lap after lap, smoke and glory rising behind it. And then the unthinkable. He made it! The engine held. The Falcon roared across the finish line, not just winning Bathurst, but lapping the entire field in the process. Moffitt became a legend. The Phase III had achieved what no other sedan had done before, the first ever Bathurst win with an average speed over 130 kilometers per hour. Ford didn't just win, they annihilated the competition. Falcon swept the podium. It was total domination. But that incredible victory came at a price. Behind closed doors, Ford engineers were already working on something even wilder, the Phase IV, a new evolution that would push the limits of speed and technology even further. Only 4 prototypes were built, but before the car could ever hit the mountain, the Supercar Scare killed it. Overnight, under government pressure, Ford pulled the plug. Holden followed suit, axing its V8 Tirana project. Chrysler buried its next-gen Charger. The golden age of Australian muscle was over, just like that. The Ford Falcon GTHO Phase III became the last of its kind, a car born for the mountain, but killed by politics. Yet, in that death came immortality. The Phase III never lost Bathurst. It never needed a sequel. It froze itself in time as the ultimate Australian muscle car, the car that was too good for its own good. As the dust settles on Mount Panorama, one thing becomes crystal clear. The Ford Falcon GTHO Phase III isn't just a car anymore. It's a weapon, a cultural shockwave, a machine so ahead of its time that it sends tremors through Australia's political halls and living rooms alike. The moment Alan Moffat crossed that checkered flag in 1971, he didn't just win a race. He rewrote the rules of what a family sedan could do. The media dubbed it the fastest 4-door production car in the world. And for once, the hype was real. Beneath its simple steel body from Broadmeadows, Victoria, this Falcon carried the soul of a racing prototype. It was raw, loud, and brutally effective. A car that laughed in the face of physics and authority alike. But that victory came with consequences Ford couldn't have imagined. Overnight, the Falcon became a symbol not of national pride, but of national panic. Australia's newspapers exploded with headlines screaming 160-mile-per-hour supercars for the streets. The same public that had cheered at Bathurst now feared what these beasts could do in the wrong hands. TV panels debated their danger. Politicians called them bullets on wheels, and nervous parents suddenly saw a threat hiding behind every suburban driveway. The Phase III had gone from a hero to a villain in record time, and leading that outrage was New South Wales Transport Minister Milton Morris, who vowed to crush the supercar madness before it took lives.